What's up? This is the intro. Let's begin. In the past 2 weeks, I have watched 2 scary movies. Now, in my lifetime, I can count the number of scary movies I've watched on one hand, and I could probably name every single one. Babadook, The Conjuring 2, Haunting in Connecticut, and now, I think it was called Insidious. I think it's those four. They're the only four. The last two being the ones I watched the past 2 weeks. Scary movies have never been like my genre of choice. I don't really understand the point of choosing to watch one, but I'm always kind of intrigued when I do. Earlier this year when I watched The Conjuring 2 and Babadook, the whole time, the people that I watched it with, and myself included, we just made fun of the movie the whole time. And being so lighthearted about the seriousness of the scariness of the movie really helps it be really enjoyable, I think. I love to make fun of them, and if I'm ever in a situation where I can't make fun of it the whole time, I could definitely see myself being a little frightened. Like, if I ever go and watch one in a movie theater, I could definitely see myself being someone that not necessarily screams, but maybe like jumps a little bit in their seat, which is what they want. But I think that would also be part of the atmosphere of other people freaking out too. In the scenario here in our apartment where I'm able to make fun of it the whole time, I just don't get too like tense or serious about the movie to really get scared by it. When you watch these movies, I feel like I can't really get too scared. I'm always so intrigued about the storyline or like the logic behind how these things happen that I kind of get lost in the fact that I'm supposed to be like super scared. That, and along with making stupid comments about the movie, helps lighten the mood and keeps you from getting inside your own head and everything like that. But with most of these movies, it's always really predictable, so I don't really find them overly scary all the time. When we watched Babadook, we made fun of it the whole time. Just the entire movie trashing on every single detail of something that happened, and that made it really fun. Now, unless you're one of those people that when you watch scary movies you curl up and underneath a blanket and can have to cover your eyes the whole time, it doesn't really matter what you do to make fun of the movie, you're probably still going to be scared by it. And we had one of those people with us, one or two, and that's fine. But for the rest of us, I mean, we were just dying the whole time making fun of this movie. For some people, I feel like maybe like I ruin the movie when I make fun of it, but it's tough to really take a movie like some of these seriously, like Babadook especially. But with the other ones, like The Haunting in Connecticut and The Conjuring 2, they're supposedly based off of like true stories and real experiences, and you can like look up and research those online, which is actually pretty cool, and I think that makes it even cooler. And I don't think it makes it scary, I think it makes it really interesting. Out of the four that I've seen, The Conjuring 2 was the only one I'd say was probably like the scariest out of those, but even so, I was just so intrigued about the fact this was based off a real story that I just like was so curious as to like how this was happening and what was going on. And then at the end of the movie, when they actually show like real sounds and like footage of the place, then it like really becomes real and it becomes really, really cool. All of this came into my mind along with everybody freaking out recently about the new trailer for the new It movie. I had never heard of the old one, so I didn't really know what it was about. So I watched the trailer and I literally laughed out loud a couple times at this trailer, and I felt kind of bad about the first time, because if you haven't seen the trailer, you can watch it, but the beginning of the trailer starts out with this kid chasing this little boat down a stream, his little paper boat hat or whatever, down a stream towards a water sewage grate, and he's running, and he literally runs into a piece of wood, like, barrier thing, and just falls over, and I immediately lost it. I mean, I felt kind of bad, because I was like, alright, he just got smoked by this piece of wood, but I don't know. I didn't expect that from a scary movie trailer, so I really thought it was funny. And then people were complaining to me saying, how is it not scary when you're looking at the sewage drain and then the clown pops up? Like, when the camera goes and stares at the sewage grate for like 8 seconds and nothing's happening, eventually something's gonna happen, and you just gotta take those 8 seconds and mentally prepare yourself for the worst. And since this movie's about a clown, I'm probably going to expect a clown to be the thing that pops up, and sure enough it does. So no, I really wasn't fazed by it. I'm not trying to act tough, I'm just saying a lot of things are really predictable in these movies, and as long as you mentally prepare yourself for the worst, it's probably not going to be that bad. Especially when I'm watching these movies and they get all tense and like quiet and stuff, you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, where is he, like, coming out? And then as soon as he pops out, I sometimes scream like, heck yeah, like there he is. Like, I get excited because like I want to know what happens. I want to know what this thing's about to do. The past two I watched this week were not scary at all. The Haunting in Connecticut had some parts where things popped up and it was kind of weird, but it really wasn't that like frightening of a movie, even though it was based off like a real life events. And then the Insidious, that was just like that whole movie was so intriguing because the idea behind it is so like interesting. How I don't know if I should ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin it, but like whoever thought of the movie Insidious had a really good idea. The movie itself was not scary to me whatsoever. Probably the least scary out of the four, and The Haunting in Connecticut the third least scariest. But I was only gonna watch a half hour of it, but I was really intrigued by the storyline of how this all occurred that I ended up watching the whole thing, and I just didn't think it was that scary. Anyways, so about this It trailer. So I watched the whole thing, I think it's funny, and then I'm like, alright, well I need to see the comparison to the new trailer to the old trailer. So I look up the old one. And that trailer, I thought that for the new It trailer was kind of funny at parts, but it had like really creepy looking clowns. The old trailer is hilarious. The whole time they have like happy jolly music playing the whole time, and the clowns look like clowns you'd see at your birthday party. I mean, the one point the clown's like in these like clothing lines or whatever, and there's like a little girl, and he like smiles at her, and then she like smiles back and then like giggles or something, and it's just like the whole time it's just funny. It's like they're making a joke out of this scary movie during the trailer. These clowns in that trailer look exactly like the clowns that were popping up all over the country on sides of the roads and stuff, where people were just dressing up and walking down the side of the road to scare people. The clowns in the first It trailer look just like that, like face paint, really stereotypical costume, like everything like that. On the new one, they got like messed up teeth, like weird eye paint, like really dark looking clowns. So I could definitely see how the new one could be scarier than the old one. But as far as I'm concerned, the old one was probably really hilarious looking, and the new one, I don't know. The trailer was really predictable. I'm probably not going to watch it. I'm definitely not going to go to theaters and watch it. But yeah, I just don't get excited for scary movies. They're not my genre of choice by any means. Probably not even in my top 3 or 4, because I don't know, like who is ever in the mood to just get frightened or not be able to go back into a dark room and go to bed by themselves, you know? Like who wants to be in that kind of state of mind? So that's why I've never really gotten into them or really been excited about scary movies. Although I will say that scary movies to me have very similar comparisons to like comedies. Comedies and scary movies, whether they're really well made or really badly made, always serve their purpose. Comedies, if it's a terribly made movie but you still laugh, you're still kind of okay with it because you still laughed. If it's a terribly made scary movie and there's any part of the movie in which you were frightened or jumped because something happened, you're probably still okay with it, and you're probably going to say, alright, it wasn't that bad of a movie. Another comparison between comedies and scary movies is comedies tend to be, no matter how well they're made, tend to be very predictable in some of their humor. You can often predict the next move or the next comment or the next stupid thing that's going to happen to whatever character. And I feel like in scary movies that's really easy to tell too. Really good scary movies, they surprise you, and you don't, what happens in the movie isn't what you expected, and that's always really cool. But for the most part in the scary movies, like if the music gets weird, you know, and like it's dark out or, you know, whatever, and you're just anticipating something bad happening or something popping out, and eventually it's gonna happen, whether it's like the bad demon or whatever that pops out, or it ends up being like the neighbor's dog. Something popped out and something freaked you a little bit just for a second, and to that retrospect, it's predictable. But I feel like in comedies and in scary movies, they're always pretty predictable what happens next. Like in a lot of the scary movies, I was just the whole time, if something cool happened, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Or something really crazy happened. It was, like I think it was in Babadook. It was either Babadook or The Conjuring. I can't remember which one. I think it was Babadook. At one point, there's like a toy spinning around, and the character that's on the toy ends up being like the thing that is envisioned. It's this tall, slender, like thin person, and it ends up in the back of the house, and it freaks out the one kid. And like at that point, I like can't take it seriously because it's just like this goofy, like not really goofy, but like it's a cartoon character basically in the movie. And at that point, I lose my seriousness. It's like, when you see things like that in the scary movies, it's those things that like keep me from taking it too seriously, because in my mind I'm like, alright, that's probably not gonna happen. But then in The Conjuring one, like The Conjuring 2, when like the little girl's room has like all the crosses are flipped upside down and she's like floating in midair with her whole room torn up, you're like, alright, this is pretty messed up. And then you're like, but that's probably not real. And then at the end of the movie they actually show you pictures of all the crap that was actually real. Then you're like, oh snap, maybe I should have taken this a little seriously. But Like, at the end of the day, it's a movie. Like, I don't know. I can't get too sucked into it, because if you get too sucked into it, then you get really scared, and then you have nightmares, or you can't sleep, and that's really just not ideal for anybody. I kind of went on a rant there at the end. This video is already too long. Doesn't really matter, but I should probably just, yeah, I'm just gonna cut it off here. Peace.